Praise the Lord and give all the glory to God. Welcome, woodworking warriors. Today we are going to be building these journals. These are, hands down, our best seller for the last 2 years running. There are so many different designs that you can put on the front of these that the sky's the limit with these. They're just an A5 journal and the infill in them. And they're 60-page fills. And I'll leave all the links in the description. There's all the materials and everything that you're going to need to make these. They're not hard to do. It just takes a little time. So with that being said, let's get into it. All right, to start out with getting these, the back of the journals going and the straps going, we use, typically I use a veg tan leather, and this is just cut off of one big roll. I normally order one big roll veg tan economy leather from Tandy or Weaver Leather Supply, and also decided to start trying some of the pre-dyed ones because I normally dye my own, and I'll show you how I do that here in a little bit. But I was trying the blue and the green to see how they work. Now these are a little lighter grade than this. This is a 4 or 5 ounce, and these are 3 or 4 ounce. So I think they'll still work out all right, just fine. So we're going to throw these in one of these in a laser machine here and get it. All right, so this is the pattern that we're going to cut out, and drag her down here a little bit. You can see it better. I got this set up so I can cut 10 backs and the straps, enough straps for 10 journals. So there's that's the design. The holes on these are about 1/8 inch, and the holes in the ends of the straps are the only ones that are different, and they're 3/16, not quite a 1/4 inch. They're big enough just for the snaps, the post on the snaps to go through, so they can be crimped in. Well, that's the pattern. And we're going to cut these. We're going to cut it at 60 power, 2 passes on it, and that's going to be it. So these will get cut out, and then we'll pull them out of the machine and show you what they look like then. I start out with the Fibre tan. There we go. So that's the tan leather dye. And what I put in the middle of this is just not a whole lot, so it doesn't take a whole lot to get going there. This is going to go everywhere. So I start with the tan and go right in the center, just kind of hold back a little bit, 5 or 6 inches from there, and just give a nice coat right through the center of the whole thing. And really you can't put too much on here. It's just going to add more color as you go to the outside. So this is the Fibre dark brown leather dye. So we're going to go with that next. And I should probably mention too that when I get these off of out of the laser when it cuts them, this whole sides, all the sides are black on these. So I take them over to the belt sander, the drum sander, and just hit them on the outside edges and underneath them. I didn't get this one here real good, but as long as the outside edges are cleaned up, because it will leave char on there and you'll get it all over your hands when you're trying to sell these to a customer. You don't want them to have black stuff all over their hands. So so with the tan I hit, though, I wanted to just highlight the middle of this. The brown just will accentuate that. And next I'm going to do just around the outside with a black Fibre dye. And I want to get kind of close because I want to keep it in pretty tight to the edge all the way around. I'm going to be just over where the laces are at. And I want to get a good coat on there because this has a tendency to fade a little bit. And then after I get the edges on the front of this done, I'll come back over and I will just come back over and hit the, kind of hard to see it from there, but the outside edge of this needs some dye as well, and the back of these. I'll have to dye these, and I normally either do these black or the dark brown. These ones I'm going to do with black because I already got everything else done with the dark brown. So I got the outside edges pretty good, so I'm back on the rest. I'm going to have to take the gun apart and clean it up. But alright, so we got these all dyed up. The black are all done. Got the black on the inside of all the straps and everything. So after we do that, I come and get the Resolene. These are new bottles. I haven't opened these up yet, but take the Resolene, get them opened up, and take a wool dauber. And I just give it a nice coat on both sides. And basically this just seals in the dye so that it doesn't run all over the place when people handle them. They won't get rub off on their hands from the dye. Holes in the bottom of these, there's 3 holes in the center on the bottom and top of each one. These all get these little ferrules, little brass eyelets. I'm sure the camera's not going to pick this up very well, but so it's just a little eyelet that goes in the hole, and we just put the little eyelet in the hole. Oh no, it actually goes into the other side, goes in the back side, and then crimp it. Alright, so we got those all crimped in, all the little eyelets there. And I'll show you what those are all about after we get these sewn up. We're going to take one of our covers, and all that's designed to do is after it dries up, we'll put these together a little bit. And alright, sorry about the background noise, but I got my son in here helping me do some stuff, and the dust collector's running, so it's going to be a little bit noisy in here. I apologize. So this is the setup for the front and the backs of the journals that we make. I do my logo on the very back outside of these. I'm going to come in here. I'm going to pick up a couple pictures that we can engrave on these. Take them there for the load, of course. Everything's looking slow today, much like myself. So I'm going in here and do a little adjustment, and that should work. So it's 25. 50. I'll probably just do this on 120. There's a lot of dark in him, so it's -% here at 120. Yeah, let's try that. Alright, we'll be back after these are done cooking. Need some barge glue, contact cement. Try to get the cap off of it. I have to get channel locks. Get that off there. There we go. Oh boy. That's tight. Alright. We just run it right along the edge where those holes are at right there. Don't need a lot on there. We need grip. Alright. I'm going to ease that. Nice little layer of it right there. I'm going to set that off to the side for a minute. We'll grab our leather, our binder, and put a little coat of glue right along the edge there as well. Try to keep it on this side of the leather. It'll hold it in place while I'm trying to get the thread going in the right direction. So we're going to give that a few minutes to start drying out a little bit, so it'll be tacky and stick to itself when we put it on there. Okay, let's try to move you over here a little bit. Alright, so this is dried for just about the most part. So we're just going to take and overlap right over that. We're keeping an eye on where the holes are at. Make sure your holes overlap each other really good. And just stick them right to each other. You kind of make sure your holes are really lined up good. Because once this sets, that's where it's going to be. So you can see daylight through all the holes from one side to the other, so that's lined up pretty good. So now we're going to throw it over here in a stitching pony. So this is our stitching pony. We're going to just slide this into these jaws right here. Throw this little lever on this side that locks it down so it won't move around on me when I'm trying to stitch this up. Grab our thread. Link everything in the description where I get all my stuff off of Amazon. So, and no, I don't have an affiliate link or anything, so I'm not making any money on this. I'm not promoting anything for anybody. I'm just telling you about what it is that I use personally, because this is what I use. So for the length on the thread, we're going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, and about a half. Oh, and I forgot to grab my scissors. I got to grab my scissors. I'll be right back. Alright, so got that. Anyway, like I was saying, 4.5 to 5. I generally try to go more towards the 5 times the length of 1. So if you go under 4.5, you're going to be short. And then to thread the needle on here, it's going to be hard to see, but I just run it through the eye. This needle's, I don't know if these needles are going to be too big. Never used these ones before, but it's one I pulled out. So you run it through the eye, and you got your thing right there, and you just come back with the tip, and you go right through the kind of the center of the string, and then you just pull that right through. Forms a little knot right there, and then pull it back down. And that's one end. You need a needle on both ends. So if I can find my other needle, wherever it went, there it is. We'll get both of these on there. To the eye of the needle, and then just come back by the tail, about an inch or 2 in, and right through the side of the thread, back through, and just pull. And there it is. Alright, so I'm going to pull you in real close here so you can see how we're going to get started on sewing this. Alright, so what you're seeing there is the bottom edge of the journal. We got the 2 needles with the thread going through both of them. So we're going to start out the second hole from the bottom. I'm going to send 1 through. And then we're going to come back through the hole at the very bottom from the same side. And we're going to turn our needle on the other needle and go through at the same elevation there, same hole. And we're going to bring them right straight through. And try to keep our line about the same length there. So you get them there, and then you can come back through, and we're going to go back through that second hole one more time from both sides. And pull that nice and tight. I'm sorry, my hands are probably in the way. I'm doing the best I can. So after we get, hopefully that works. So we go from there, we just start working our way up the next hole up. Come through, and always go under the thread so it kind of locks it in. And just start working our way up. And it doesn't take very long to sew these. This is what they call saddle stitching, apparently. I don't know. I'm not really a leather guy so much, but sometimes in the things I make, got to have leather. And this is one of those situations where you got to have the leather, so you got to know how to sew it. And I should have been using these bigger needles the whole time, because I've been doing, I've done like thousands of these. And these big needles yeah, that's the way to go. Alright, so here we are. We're at the top. That's the last hole at the top. So to finish these off, we're going to come back through. You're going to go down 3 holes with each of them and pull everything nice and tight as you go. Alright, so that's 3 holes, and on the outside one we bring it back through the 4th hole down, so they're all to the inside there. Take our fancy little scissors, and we cut them off, and we'll leave probably about 1/4 inch of the thread there. Then we take our little laser blaster, and we just torch the end of those. And then rub them out. Alright, there's 1/2 done. Alright, so I think I forgot to hit the record button when I did that first strap there. But anyway, the back of the journal's on, front's on, got this one sewed on, and I'm going to go ahead and sew this one here on now, the bottom one, and I'll show you how we do that. It is being held on by the contact cement. So we're going to go ahead and just put that up in our stitching pony, drop it down, get it where it's comfortable. You got to be at a comfortable working height, and this works out really good with the chair that I'm in. So with this one, I just start at like the closest hole to me on the bottom and just run it through like I do on the other one. Go back a hole and then lock it in like that. And it's still screwing around on me. I tightened this up once, but get it down on the bottom of it. So then we go back to the first hole that we started in with both needles from each side, and then just start going around from there. This is a pretty boring job, so you might want to have some music to listen to or YouTube playing in the background when you're doing this. Alright, so when you get down to the last hole, you just turn around and work your way back a couple of holes. And when I get to here, then I just come back to the top corner hole right there. Get your extra sharp scissors, cut it off right there. Get your needles out the way. Get your little torch, turn it on, and then blast it. Rub them down, and you're done with that. So now we got to this point here. Little holes in the back right here. We get the bungee. So this is Mandala Crafts 2mm stretchy stuff. So you take a snapshot of that if you want to, but it's stretchy stuff. And with it, I come in and I do about 2 times the length, and I'll end up cutting a bunch off because when I tie it in there, I'm going to I'll stretch it out just a little bit. You want it snug. And for this, you want to come in from the back side on both ends, flip it over. You flip it over and you cross it over, and I normally do 2 times that way, give it a nice tight stretch. You don't want to overstretch it because you don't want to try to pull it in. You just want it to be snug. You'll know if you over tighten them, it'll start pulling the leather, and then just overhand knot again. If I can get my fingers to cooperate. Overhand knot, and I go through it twice. You want to have a little bit of stretch in there, but and then again come out, just cut your ends off, and I leave just a little bit. You don't need a lot down there with that double knot on there. It actually works out pretty good. It doesn't come undone. All right, so I'll get the other two tied up just like that, and then I run these down to the bottom, and that'll be the bottom down there, so that when we put the journal fills in, they're not sticking out the top. It's not a good look to have them sticking out the top. The knot's down here. All right, so I'm gonna get these other two down, and I'll go find some journal fills and get this one finished out. All right, so these are the A5 notebook. They're a 60-page. Get them off of Amazon in a box of, it's like 110 for $80, about 73 cents a piece for the fills on these. So under $3 for the fills for each one of these. And they go in with the bands right here. We just pull them out, slide it in. And there's one. Try to find the center. Pretty easy. You're almost self-centering, so. Two. And all three of them in there. Once you get all three of them in there, you can turn around, close it. And that one's done. It is ready to go out for sale. So I think this one is actually going to go into Octavio's box. Tomorrow's going to be the last day of building stuff and putting stuff in Octavio's box. I'm going to build one more journal that the wife is, she's doing building it by hand. The cover of it, it's not going to be a laser engraved. She's doing a special cover by hand that, so if you don't have a laser engraver, she's taking a postcard type picture, gluing that on the front, laminating it on the front, and she's embellishing around the outside of it with some of the clay stuff that she makes, clay earrings and that kind of stuff. So she's going to do some embellishments around the outside of that, and I'm going to do a quick video on all the stuff that we're putting in that. Hopefully I can get that done tomorrow. It may go out before this one does, because I got some editing to do on this one, because I'm all over the place today. It is what it is. So there's that on how those are sewn up and engraved, and how we cut the leather and the wood for the front of it, and engrave the front of it, and get those all done. And those journals are by far my best seller, plain and simple, straight up. They are my best seller for the last 2 years running. I'm not going to tell you what I sell them for, because your area is going to be different than mine. Maybe you can get more money than I can out of them, because we're in a kind of a depressed area, small town. Our craft shows here are, it's a lot of low income people, and a lot of people just don't have money to spend, on high ticket items. So the things that I build are kind of geared towards the lower income people that don't have money. So I try to keep my prices down where people can afford to come shop at our booth and feel like they're getting a good value. So there's that in a nutshell. And with that, I'm going to get this wrapped up. God bless y'all. I hope y'all are able to get out in your shop and create stuff. And I hope this is something that you got some interest out of, and are able to get out and make these yourself, because they're not hard to make. It just takes a little bit of time. They're time consuming to sit and sew them up. I normally sew them up in the evening and sit in front of the TV watching TV and doing my thing there. So with that being said, see you on the next one.